Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 107. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me in SideQuest Studios today is BT Calloway.
107 comes great after 106.
And joining us for the very first time is brand new guest, Cins Dee.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you, Cins, for the Simpsons Index. This is the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. And so, Cins, you're joining us for the first time today. You used to go to uni with us, and that's how we met you. And
yeah. I'm very excited, and it's very strange to be talking into a microphone instead of singing into it. So, looking forward to that.
Well, maybe we can get your singing skills a bit later, because, we just watched a very musical episode as well, and I wanted to bring this episode especially to you today because you are a big fan of the Flight of the Conchords, yeah?
I sure am, yeah. I was very excited when I first heard Jermaine's voice come up over the strange-looking guy that looked like he was from Oasis. I went, yes! So it was good.
Yep, but before we get into that episode, I'm doing this all in the wrong order. So let's briefly talk about your Simpsons history. Where did The Simpsons begin with you?
For me, The Simpsons history is definitely something that's been there forever. So I remember not being allowed to watch it, but my dad was watching it. So I would just sneak into the room and continue watching it anyway, probably since I was about 3. So
oh, wow.
I've been watching it, since I was about 3, and then I guess I stopped in high school when the episodes got a little bit strange and they took it off mainstream television for a while as well. So,
well, I'll remember that being one of the things we bonded over in uni is, Simpsons quotes, of course, like a lot of people do. But it's interesting with you that you were banned from it, yet your parents were still watching it. Often we find that people that were banned from watching it because the parents hated it.
Yeah, well, my mum didn't like it, but if Dad was home and looking after us, then that's what he was watching, and that's what we got to watch.
I find it fascinating how many people for whom it was contraband. I love that.
Yeah.
And now it's gone from contraband to contrabland.
Oh,
sparkling wordplay. Feel that shimmer.
BT with the cutting criticisms even before I've announced what episode we're doing. Maybe it's time for me to do that. All right, so we just watched an episode from the HD era. This was Season 22, Episode 1, Elementary School Musical, which I'll point out was also the title of a South Park episode where they did an elementary school musical.
Huh.
South Park did it first, 2 years earlier.
Wow. South Park did.
And first released in September of 2010, it was directed by Mark Kirkland, written by Tim Long. In this episode, I'm not sure which is the A and B story, but the main story is that Lisa goes to this musical artist camp, which is run by the Flight of the Conchords. Oh, they don't use their real names, but you can tell it's them. And in the other story, Krusty gets a Nobel Prize, but it turns out to be a ruse that he's over in Norway answering for crimes against humanity or something.
It was Holland,
Holland. Right.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry. And for some reason, Bart and Homer are along for that journey with him. Hey, what'd you think?
Not much is what I thought. Not much at all.
Well, I actually quite enjoyed it from a standpoint that I hadn't watched The Simpsons with people that like The Simpsons for quite a while.
Yeah.
Being in my new household where living with my brother as an adult and not having someone that to sort of giggle with.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind it. I thought there was a couple of interesting little gags in there, and I enjoyed the Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought this would be the best possible audience to bring this episode to you for you because you are a fan. I'm not so much, but I do like them, but I'd never really got into Flight of the Conchords. What about you, Beach?
I like them well enough. Like I said, stuff like What We Do in the Shadows and Wellington Paranormal, which is coming from the same creative team, is definitely. I think it's good that they've evolved because musical comedy has a very strict roof, and very few people can keep it going for very long. But no, I enjoy them well enough.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I did love about the Flight of the Conchords show was always their manager, played by Rhys Darby. And I'm so stoked that he has sort of become a breakout star in recent years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you loved the show and had all the albums and...
Look, to be honest, I didn't even watch a huge amount of the show. I was more into the music and the comedy that you get from basically trying to do it yourself as well, from having a bit of a sing-along with it. It can be quite, for a musician that's a singer, it's quite challenging, some of the things they do. And, I married a Kiwi, so I quite like the Kiwi humour.
Yeah, and I think Flight of the Conchords specifically, a lot of musical comedy relies on, the lyrics itself to be the joke, and after you've heard it once, it loses impact. Whereas for them, I think a lot of it came from the delivery and their style of it.
Yeah. Well, there was one song that they did which was like a big, massive parody of David Bowie, and I quite enjoy that.
Bowie in space.
Yeah, yeah. And the way they just sort of go, spiders, like,
yeah,
it's so on
There's
point.
a great one where they're doing Lord of the Rings, and it's like, we'll never make it. We made it. And I always have that in my head every time something stupid happens.
All right, well, anyway, let's get into the questionnaire. Cindy, for better or worse, what is one moment from this episode that stands out to you?
I really liked the end, which we may not want to be talking about right now. But
No, we talk about it all out of order. It's fine.
All right, goodo. So I really liked that there was a little bit of a circle story in there. The Flight of the Conchords characters talked about being sandwich artists.
Yeah.
And it's actually from the Flight of the Conchords song. They do a song called Inner City Pressure.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So I found that was it was a little bit close to that idea that if they're a sandwich artist and they drop it on the floor, they can eat it. I did like that he drops it on the floor, and you can't remember exactly the line, but it was something like, good work, mate.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, with the very obvious, oops.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I can't do the accent.
Your friend in the fridge. Oops.
Whoops.
BT, what is the moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
What I'm going to bring up is a very mild but I think pertinent criticism. When Krusty is getting onto the airplane, they're playing the Itchy and Scratchy theme
Yes.
being sung by a bunch of Marines. Krusty doesn't own Itchy and Scratchy. That's a different studio.
Yeah, it'd be like if Aggro from Aggro's Cartoon Connection was getting a military parade and they just started singing the themes.
X-Men theme or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is, a thing he presents. He doesn't own it. And so, yeah, it's... Nope.
Actually, I do want to see a chorus of people singing da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, yeah.
Da-da.
And also check out the Japanese version. It's also awesome.
Really?
But different, yeah.
Sick.
You could drop a little bit here. That'd be great.
But yeah, why have it as well? Because it just took so long to do and there's no actual joke there. Except with Homer going, they fight and bite, I learned something new.
That was stupid as fuck. No, I think they're meant to be adding prestige to the moment, but, as a alt.nerd.obsessive, I noticed that this made no sense and it pissed me off.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that Homer was the least valuable player in this episode, and I'm going to say that's the moment of the story that stood out to me, which was Homer doing the extended laughing joke at Krusty's Arctic Circle. That's where my wife, for the purpose of this joke, I'm married. See, to me, that was the joke. And then Homer's extended laugh sort of...
Well, I will give a bit of credence to the extended laugh just because it became the plot line. Like, it wasn't just... If they had just gone with Homer laughing forever and that was meant to be what we were laughing at, that would have been stupid as fuck. But the fact that Krusty goes, you laugh at everything, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
Because it became a plot point, I hated it less.
I actually do remember a lot of that kind of joke happening in the early Simpsons as well. I think it's definitely a throwback to what the old episodes were like, but I think it's lost its charm.
Yeah, and there's a way to do it as well. Like, we just did the one where Marge becomes a cop, where we've got Homer doing the out of breath bit for, like, he catches up to her in the police car, gets out, and he's like, Stunny.
Yeah.
Still out of breath. But I mean, that's funnier because they've used it for a purpose as well.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the whole break because, the initial joke was that Homer ran 2 blocks and still couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And then when the police picked him and brought him to Marge later, he was still gasping. See, in this one, they divided the joke by having the bouncing in the limo gag, which...
really awkward.
And not necessary at all. I think it was just a random little piece of clip that they put in to fill time more than anything.
And it was like, hey, for about a second and a half, you're going to think Homer and Krusty are fucking. Comedy.
Yeah, so, there's a fine enough misdirect, I guess, when Homer's just, having fun bouncing in the limo, childlike wonder of him, envy of us all. But that they then chose that moment to bring him laughing again and goes, oh, I just got it.
I don't know.
If we're going to look at Homer gasping for air and compare that to this one, there
are things to be written about that. I would happily put together a PowerPoint presentation about it.
Yeah.
However, let's move on.
But what you were saying, Sydney, it is right. The rate gags from fucking the Sideshow Bob episode, I think that goes for a good minute and a half.
And it's just an overused thing,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what cartoon you're watching now. They all do it. And I think it's a bit of it's something that needs to be moved past.
Well, just the extended hitting on the 1 point thing, it can be done well. I'm not the biggest fan of Family Guy anymore, but fuck me, that That bit gets me every time, and it goes for the perfect amount of way too long.
Yeah.
And I don't know definitively what the scientific breakdown of that is, but anyway, play count. How many times before today have you seen this episode?
0.
I have seen it the never.
Oh, wow, this is the first time for you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen this, I think, 3. This will be my 3rd time.
Congratulations.
And let's talk about some of the wacky elements in this episode. So, like cartoony moments. What stood out to you from that?
The only really wacky thing that I wrote down, and it's not really the cartoon sphere, but I found it very strange that when she came back to school, they started playing God Save the Queen, and they're American. She tries to make it more interesting with her saxophone solo or whatever it might be. But
no, that was My Country 'Tis of Thee, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to now think of what's the difference between the two.
God save our
Tis
gracious
of thee,
Queen, long live
land
our
of
noble
liberty.
Queen.
Someone's
God
getting
save the
copyright
Queen.
infringement.
Wow. This is one of those Twinkle Twinkle Little
Yeah.
Star Alphabet Johnny No Sugar songs.
Because I went to correct you. I'm like, wait a second. Are they the same?
It's the same song. So there you go. We've
And
discovered
it's actually
something.
the Canadian mounted Yaxman from Ren and Stimpy. Our country reeks of trees. Our yaks are really large.
Oh, wow. It's a tri-country song ripoff.
Yep. The Canadian mounted Yaxman.
But the other wacky thing, like the whole ruse for Krusty to face court-martial in Holland, like, this just didn't make sense to me.
No, and like the charges against him were like plagiarism or something, but it was just very
I know he
weak.
threw a monkey off the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
was one of
yeah,
them.
Fair.
Vomited in a baby carriage.
We have extradition laws for this kind of thing. If you trip the Pope, the United States is probably going to extradite you.
2 Australian guys decided to have a barbecue on the Eternal Flame underneath the Arc de Triomphe in France, and their passports have been taken off them and they're never allowed to leave the country again. It was kind of funny because they were trying to cook sausages on the Eternal Flame, but
dear
an incredible
God.
insult to...
Oh, yeah. A weird mix of disgustingly Australian and just disgusting.
Exactly right.
You know, as our national crest says, be a sick cunt, don't be a shit cunt.
Oh, man. So, yeah, what Krusty has done is pretty amateur level compared to an average travelling Australian, but...
Come on, we kick this guy's ass. I will say, it's not, again, the wackiness here is not stuff that can't happen. It's just stuff that wouldn't. So there's a good little bit where Lisa just listens to some This American Life's like, now condiments in 5 parts.
Yep.
First, mustard.
And yeah, special guest star of the episode, Ira Glass, playing himself in that moment. And yeah.
Yeah. I just enjoy NPR voice.
Yeah.
There was one part where the Flight of the Conchords did fly
That's
at the
true.
very end of the episode. So I guess there's something that's cartoon world that can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was a bit of a nonsense.
Yeah.
Put it in there because it is, or I guess it's funny because they're called the Flight of the Conchords.
Yep.
And
Also,
they
isn't that
flew.
the cover of like one of their albums or something? Is they're flying in that same pose? I think it is. The other bit of wacky is the city's pretty gritty for a nitty bitty pretty girl.
Yeah. So that's the things that I like that Flight of the Conchords do is, playing with words and, mixing them around. And, that song was catchy in the end, but mostly nonsense before that.
And also Marge is driving and there's a highway sign that says the most monotonous highway in America.
Yeah. There was another good sign gag actually when Lisa does go to the city and there's 2 shops there, the Cockfight Supply Store and the car alarm testing site.
I like car alarm testings. There's a bit of stupid whack.
Oh, yeah.
Where in the Flight of the Conchords second song, when they're at Lisa's at their apartment, they start playing guitars, but the piano is playing.
Oh.
And it's like,
yes, I noticed
who the
that
fuck
too.
thought this was what?
Oh, and actually when Mo's playing at the end, he's like doing way too much fretting and you only hear 2 chords.
He's just really good.
I suppose that's a criticism of a musician, though. That's not necessarily something that most people would notice.
We have a section on this show called Jordan's Anal Corner. Where
You have to yell it. It's important.
All right. Well, I suppose I can help Jordan there then. Something that bothered me as a teacher of young children. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, then have an apple
Eat
or
a
a
pear.
pear.
Yeah.
It upset me quite a lot.
The return of Roofy.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know who that is, but I just thought that it was out of order and that's not how we do it, and you rotting children's teeth, and that upset me quite a lot. So
He's in league with Big Dental, so you got to.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
Yeah.
of course.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Yeah, like the Wiggles, like...
Yeah, trying to like boost potato sales with hot potato. Yeah.
They're in bed with big starch.
You look up the sales after that song came up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roofy, he was in like a season 15 episode. Maggie was all obsessed with him. The famous song 1, 2, tie your shoe, 3, 4, pick up the floor, 5, 6, don't play tricks, 7, 8, clean your plate, 9, 10, start over again.
Somewhere Danny Rosewell's rolling around in his grave, which he shouldn't be in yet. I bought you that for the future, man. Get out of it.
You're ruining it.
I know. It's special. It's waiting.
So I guess like the musical moments as well are especially wacky. Like, and I thought the worst one by far was the fucking Good Vibrations parody.
Yeah.
Agreed, and I did do an eye roll. I think I physically went, ugh.
Yeah, I literally sort of, okay, we're singing now.
Yeah, it was here we go, it's a musical. Yeah, but it didn't actually eventuate into the musical that I was expecting,
Yeah?
I think.
Yeah. I was expecting a little more, covers of pop songs, i.e. High School Musical, rather than...
Well, yeah, the people singing in that were actually 3 of the stars from Glee. So, yeah, this episode is loaded with guest stars. There was Lea Michele, Corey Monteith, and Amber Riley, who were in that Glee show. And, yeah, they were the voices of this school camp and this musical moment here.
I had no idea, and I will continue to not know.
It's a bit of a shame that they used Lea Michele in such a small way then, because she really is a very... recognizable kind of voice and character, and she's kind of, in that idea of when Phoebe from Friends was on, she's got that really recognizable voice, and she probably could have gone a lot further, especially with Lisa's character.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a shame that they used her in such a small way.
Yeah, it is really weird that they had one musical cast set up and then ditched it entirely for a different musical cast setup.
Yeah, because it started out being an episode of Glee, and then it turned into the Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, which I would prefer Fly the Conchords, but it's also weird to, have one stylistic parody in the chamber and then remove that chamber and pick up a different one. And wait, why?
Which I'll say is what South Park did superior in their elementary school musical, because, they went full force and did a big, episode all about the High School Musical craze. And
also just quick side question, are we on the South Park index?
Oh no. Sorry. I was talking about Family Guy before as well. Fucking damn it. Can't be comparing it to other things, only other Simpsons. But the Good Vibrations thing, a lot bugged me about this. I don't know, it just seemed like really lazy rhyming. The pearls you wear, the star-shaped.
Yeah.
And they rhymed 12 with there. They don't rhyme. You'll be in cabin 12. You'll be very happy there. Pick another number.
One that rhymes with things.
How about some of the heart moments? Some of the things that get you in the emotions?
Well, this is mostly where I want to scissor kick the episode in the face because it really fucks up the whole concept. Basically, the whole message is don't be an artist, you never get paid. And my real problem with that is most people who love art and do it don't do it with the intention of getting famous. Sure, they would like to be able to make a living from it, but you do it because you love it, and part of you has to accept there's a good chance you're never going to get a dime for it, but you do it anyway. And I wanted that to be the message, not this, oh, Lisa, it sucks being an artist. Maybe you shouldn't do it after all. That's the whole thing. There's no, look, we don't make any money. We just want to pretend to be a big shot. And then maybe Lisa has the revelation of, but I do it because I want to. I'm not going to give it up just because I'm never going to make a living from it. Or just something else. But the literal heart of this moment is she goes to the big city. She finds out these guys are actually Subway employees who, play for no one and don't even know what applause is. And they're miserable. And that's it.
Yeah, that joke I hated because they went to art camp. Surely there were applause there anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think the fact that she got to art camp was a bit of a heart moment. Because, as she did say, she's got terrible middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
And that's understandable because, as she does say, Bart gets to do everything and go wherever he wants and Maggie gets the rest. So the fact that she was actually thought about during that time, I suppose, can be a bit of a heartfelt moment. And the fact that she went somewhere that was so written and made for her was a really big part of that. And even though it's quite a weak, small part of the story, I think at least... there was a little bit of heart in there.
I also appreciate how quickly we got into this one as well. We go straight from the weird Homer's, kids, it's 4 a.m. You're supposed to be in bed a half hour ago. Then we get Nobel Prize. Krusty's getting sent to Europe. Homer goes with him. Bart goes with Homer. This is all within the first 2-3 minutes. It's very quick, which is good. At least at this point, I was like, okay, so we've already established things. Obviously, there's so much content, we had to just speed right to it.
Yeah. Well, that's the other weird thing. They broadcasted Krusty winning, so this ruse was on a massive level.
International ruse.
Surely it'd be cheaper to have
To extradite him?
Yeah.
Again, there are laws for this.
There was a funny, nice line when they were watching the Nobel Prizes, though, when he said that, next up, the Nobel Peace Prize. I'd kill for that.
Yeah, so Homer.
So Homer, and just a perfect little classic giggle moment where you kind of, if you're not paying attention, you miss the line. And that's the thing I miss about old Simpsons. If you're not paying attention, you missed it.
Whereas now they're like point at the line and go, did you get it? We'll repeat it, don't worry.
Yeah, it speaks to the heart of this episode that we've moved on from it so quickly. But yeah, I agree with you, Cindy, actually, that Marge was like very heartfelt in this episode, you know, and especially the way she didn't forget Maggie either. Gave her a little pacifier. And then Maggie thought it was a cigar.
Yeah, she just sliced the little tip off and then, I thought that was fine. It was like, especially when she like kind of smelled it the way you smell like a cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was neat.
And yeah, definitely. I think Marge is definitely the most self-sacrificing and the most selfless of the characters. And I think the most redeeming qualities come from really the female characters a lot in The Simpsons.
Yeah. And that's where the big heart moments come from. And yeah, it's a shame that she wasn't sort of used more in the ending of this episode.
Well, just actually both storylines were just directionless after a while. It's like, Lisa doesn't learn anything or go anywhere or do anything new. She's just all like, no, I missed the place where I was being nurtured. It's like, well, you know, do something now.
Yeah.
Like, plenty of people weren't nurtured and managed to do things because they weren't getting what they needed. They created something instead. And then Krusty's whole plotline just ends. Like, I can't even remember what happened. He was like, has to prove that he's made some kind of contribution to Western culture. And he does that by, well, I literally can't remember what it was.
Vuvuzela me out of here.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then 3 days later, Nelson Mandela was released. Like, how are those things related?
I really don't know how they linked the two. Like,
yeah, they're just, so Krusty did this thing, and then 3 days later, a completely unrelated event happened.
I guess
you have to release him. Like, what?
I guess the joke on that is that there's so much in this world that random stuff happens.
Yeah,
like that
butterfly effect.
That butterfly effect of, well, it's not true, but, you know, if you look into the media now, like, all you need to do is look at who's running America right now, and you go, what series of events could possibly have made this happen?
How did we get it? Let's backtrack.
What happened here?
Okay, in the weakest possible terms, though. Not when you're telling a story. Real life is random and chaotic and full of bullshit where people who shouldn't get things. But in structured story, you need to have a cause to effect. So maybe if someone there was deafened by the Venezuelans or whatever the fuck they're called.
Vuvuzela.
Whatever. I don't want to get it right. And then that person was meant to be on, I don't know, Nelson Mandela's committee hearing, but he couldn't hear properly. So I don't know. I'm not here to write your fucking shit. But, you know, just give us some kind of cause to effect between Krusty just leaving the stage and all of a sudden Nelson Mandela's free. It's like, the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, then leading to that, Krusty go, I want some victory weed. Where can I get it? The courthouse cafeteria. Meet me there.
These wacky European countries.
I'll melt the hash down and inject it into my eyeballs.
That's a bit poorly researched as well, because it's such a, you know, Amsterdam's the only place that really is that keen on having that kind of cafe or coffee shop, as they call it, and really...
Not really.
The rest of them hate it. Go anywhere else in Holland and they really don't, really not into that culture. It's very interesting to see that.
And also so inefficient a way to get high as well. You know, smoke it, eat it. Do not inject it into your eyeballs, please. Yeah. If you take away one thing from the Simpsons Index podcast episode 107, do not inject hash into your eyeballs.
If you take away one thing from all 107 episodes, it's do not inject weed into your eyeballs.
And also, I love it. An instrument that you hate so much, Beach, that not only will you not own it, you won't even pronounce it.
No, it doesn't deserve that amount of respect. You know, like President Toomph.
So ultimately, though, guys, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Felt like a hastily cobbled together, almost correct episode.
Hey, look, it started with something completely random and went somewhere that we weren't expecting. And I think that's what The Simpsons does quite well.
Yeah.
Probably better than any other series around. And it did do that. And I think it did have that little bit of a circle story within it.
Yeah, if I shut off the negativity for a minute, no one is acting dramatically out of character or even mildly out of character. The situation they're in is dumb and the way it progresses is stupid, but the characters themselves are themselves. Except for Homer, who is extra strength stupid.
Yeah, and sort of Bart was kind of superfluous in the story as well, which for a get Krusty out of trouble story.
He was pretty much there to just go, wait a second, this isn't the Nobel Peace Prize country that I forgot, Oslo.
Yeah.
He was actually quite intelligent in that little place.
Yeah.
Where's all the architecture?
So,
Yeah.
I don't even think he could use some of those words that he said,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, but like all the Simpsons characters, yeah, I agree, they're mostly themselves. But yeah, it's one of these things where the Simpsons show has sort of been dictated by the guest stars that they've brought in. And High School Musical for half an act or Glee or whatever. And then it was a Flight of the Conchords show for more than half of it. Like, it's sort of one of these weird things where you just see the comedic styles don't quite mesh.
Yeah.
And I feel like even in that Flight of the Conchords song, the What is an Artist or whatever, like when Lisa was dropping her verses, it felt really awkward and out of place.
Yeah.
I guess if you're looking at it that way, from someone that does like Flight of the Conchords, they are really awkward and out of place.
Yeah.
So I guess that's part of that's the gag.
There's a different version of their awkward compared to trying to mesh the Simpsons comedy kind of into it awkward.
Yeah.
It's like the bit where he's going, this is what I'm doing now. I'm freestyling, basically just making stuff up. Freestyling. That's their kind of awkward.
Yeah. Although I did like the bit where they would like stage whispering. It's all right. I don't think she can hear us. We're stage whispering.
I can hear you.
Yeah. That was really cute. But like, I don't know. I guess Lisa also really struggles with the song moments because like she sounded out of key in the Good Vibrations thing as well.
Yeah, it's hard for Yardley Smith to sing in that voice. So
Yeah, not my key. But yes or no, would you watch it again?
Yes.
I would watch a like supercut of the Flight of the Conchords bits.
Yeah, I'm not that keen to revisit this one. But BT, what would you like to change about this episode?
Mostly just the third act of both plot lines. So give either one a point. Neither one is particularly strong at this point, but I kind of like the idea that Cross has to prove he's made some kind of contribution, even though that wouldn't remove his crimes, but whatever. But give us something, even if he's got like some criticism of, I'm an American comedian, stealing other people's ideas is our art. That would have at least been a kind of I see what you did.
Yeah.
And just Lisa's thing, have her go through the discovery, because there's a very big problem, I think, in Western culture, especially in relation to arts, of, oh yeah, if you're so good at it, why aren't you getting paid?
Yeah.
Whereas, the acceptance of, art is not about making money, especially if you care about it, it's about doing what you love. And payment is nice if you can get it on top of that.
Yeah, it sort of feels weird for a show that, is art.
Yeah.
Being so, like, cynical about being an artist. Like,
yeah, exactly. And just, give her some kind of closure or anything, because literally the end of her story is, don't be an artist, it sucks.
Yeah, but they also have the poster at the end.
Yeah, but so what?
Yeah.
Like, they've told her, don't be an artist, it sucks. Look, we're great at painting, now we have to go work at Subway. And
spill sandwiches.
Nice one.
How about you, Cins? What would you like to change?
I honestly think, in the spirit of what it used to be, it would have been nice to see a little bit more bonding between characters with Lisa and the younger kids. They were sitting in there and looking at the cloud formations and talking about all the different things it looks like, and then they were ripped out of there.
Yep.
I think while both plot points could have been really good, they were shoved into one episode.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the better thing to do would have been make them both their own episode.
Yeah.
Because it was actually enough content in both to do that. And, she was looking back at the camp and talking about all the crazy things she did. And I think that there was room for growth there.
Yeah, no, that definitely meant to mention that as well. Yeah, stay in the band camp, make her have, conflict and friends within that. Learn lessons, enemies become friends become enemies, things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since that's a great point, that, it felt like she got ripped away from the camp because we only had, like, 1 or 2 scenes there, like, of her actually being there. And it would have been nice to see a whole act where she was at band camp, First act, she's going to camp. Second act, she's in camp. Third, she got ripped away. Like, classic. And, even though this is kind of echoing the Homer goes to rock and roll fantasy camp, but if you compare that one to this one, yeah, he did spend a good act of that episode, learning how to be rock and roll.
Yeah, because again, they had the guest actors. They just didn't use them.
And not utilising those amazing actors that were there. And, they can't ever get Corey Monteith back. He's dead. So...
Oh, is he the dead one?
He's the dead one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's the heroin overdose guy. So it's such a shame that, they
Don't
had
do
these
Glee,
Good point.
Sorry.
It's such a shame that they had these amazing guest artists and they didn't utilise them. So it's kind of is a bit of a, all across the board, a bit of a thumb to all of the...
Well, yeah, because like you were saying, Leia Michelle, like in my research, I wasn't aware of her previously, but like she's a Broadway queen. She's like been going at it since she was 12. And Amber Riley as well. Like, she's an amazing actor and singer. So, yeah, it's a shame that Lisa didn't form a bond with these kids.
Yep.
And
whole lot of potential just chucked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what I'd change as well. I'd piss off the Krusty story entirely. I didn't like it. I don't think it led to enough good material, and the whole ruse thing, once you pick at one seam, it just falls apart. Like, it started bad, it ended bad, and there was nothing of substance in the middle, so just fuck it right off. And yeah, give Lisa and Marge a bit more story. Guest stars of the episode, I think I went through them all. Oh, Stephen Hawking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of dead people in this one.
It's starting to become a graveyard.
Sorry, didn't mean to make that as morbid as I did.
No. But yeah, the guest stars as well, I forgot to mention, by name, Fly the Conchords, Jermaine Clement and Brett McKenzie. And
You mean Brit?
Brit. Good old Brit. Like, I remember watching Fly to the Conchords and thinking, like, I like them, and I'm glad that they've sort of broken out on their own, and like, Ben's just this amazing composer now, and yeah, Jermaine, holds his own in everything that he's in.
Yep.
Sorry, who's Ben?
Oh, sorry, Brit. We just did a fucking bit about Brit.
You can just fix that there. That's why I thought I'd help you out.
All right, BT, do you have any other notes?
Just two. So the bit where it's like, okay, now one of the most difficult parts of being an artist is being heckled. So we're going to heckle you. And kids are doing plays like, your dog's dead. Ooh, ooh, that's a little too much. Oh, you're as lifeless as the Wellington Gardens. I don't think everyone's going to get that reference.
Yeah.
Plus, if they were familiar with the Gardens, they'd know they're teeming with life. I really like that bit.
And they are. It's beautiful.
You've been?
I have.
You've been?
Yes.
You've been?
I've been.
Bun down. See, my New Zealand accent is terrible.
Don't really want to leave on a downer, but I kind of have to, in that there's this bit where they're doing a clip from the Krusty show, and he's like, be nice to me, I slept with the lighting guy's wife, and the light hits him, and it holds on there for so freaking long.
Yeah, they're doing like the electric company or something.
It was the gas company, yeah.
And then Spider-Man walks in.
Yeah, and I mean, it would have been, okay, lol, whatever, but then they hold for like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we still looking at this? Krusty's just on the ground.
Yeah, again, I think that was a bit of a throw over to another particular cartoon comedy that has F and G in the title.
Fucking good.
Coming soon to Fox. Fucking good.
Tell me you wouldn't watch something called Fucking Good.
True. All right, time for my final notes. We saw an appearance of Simpsons' favourite Raphael, and he was a TSA agent in this episode.
I actually did you want a confiscated half bottle of water?
Oh, no.
Oh, well, princess.
Yeah. Oh, classic Raphael. And I liked in the Flight of the Conchords song how it was like really into his s'mores, and he's like, yeah, take that, Mother Nature, or something. 3 layers of s'mores. But the cow grazing, what do you guys think of the cow coming into this episode?
Moo.
I ended up liking it. I didn't like the line, but then he's got the, I create genius like you create milk. It was just that awkward enough for me to laugh at it.
You can't bottle what you create.
Yeah, I know.
But I guess that I like when he said, I'll talk to the committee, and it was like them two, Stephen Hawking and the cow.
What do you reckon? Should we let her ask? Okay. Yes, we're going to let you in. Yeah.
I forgot to mention before, but yeah, I found Stephen Hawking's appearance in this episode pretty awkward and unneeded.
Yeah. It's got to be weird when they put him on stuff. Also, he's moving his arm, and it's like, nope. Not a thing he does.
Brief history of rhyme, yo. Anyway, they had a class with Andrew Lloyd Webber and Elaine Stritch. Like, just
sure.
Wallet making. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a manatee bold joke, right? Sorry, I'm referencing an episode of South Park that was referencing an episode of Family Guy, but you know how they get the manatees to just select random things.
Yeah, it did feel like lol so random.
Yeah. I really hated the bullies in this episode, like how they were picking on Lisa.
Oh, did you go to fart school?
Didn't art on toilet paper. I don't know, it just dragged on so long.
Yeah.
I don't know who the Bronte sisters are, but I like how Maggie just picks up a Brontosaurus card.
Emily and Charlotte Bronte? No.
No?
No? Wuthering Heights?
No.
No. Oh.
Didn't do year 12 English, obviously.
Ah.
Yeah.
No.
Journeys. Yeah.
I know. It's me. You come home. That one?
That song is based off that book, so sure.
It's horrible, though. I'll just give you that.
Song. There's actually a really good power metal cover that's badass.
I was talking about the book.
Oh, okay.
Not my favourite. Sorry, Wuthering Heights fans.
It's all right. They're pretty weak. Pretty easy to beat.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of Simpsons and Wuthering Heights fans, you know.
Well, it's one of those texts that gets, I think, studied a lot in America.
Yeah.
So we've probably made enemies today. But come at us, bro.
Yeah.
Well, the worst thing about it for me is that the only reason I read Wuthering Heights was as a bit of a sullen teenager. I really liked Twilight and it referenced it quite a lot. So that's how I bought a copy of that Bronte sister novel.
Okay. All right, Jane Eyre, because the girl I liked was her favourite book. So, yeah, no.
How did that go?
Did it get you any? That's the only thing that we need to worry about.
Not as a direct result of, but eventually, yes. So it didn't hurt.
Use the Jane Eyre to get that dairy air. Oh.
Oh my gosh, I know these microphones are expensive. Can we drop some?
There was a really weird extended DVD region joke as well, which I kind of liked, but I think it went on too long.
Yeah.
And then they broke up the scene while they were waiting for the multi-region DVD player with a cuckoo clock with bashing of Hitler, which, again, why was this here?
Just to show you that time had passed, and also they don't like Hitler, I guess.
But, bit of an old joke.
I mean, I'm all for bashing Hitler.
Yeah, bashing Hitler jokes will never not be funny.
Yeah, except this one.
It was just unnecessary. You're kind of like, okay, why are we doing this? I get it. Time has passed.
Yeah. And my final note is, Mo was glad that Lisa left because his song was about to get very dark. And I don't know, one line would have been good.
Like he plays 2 chords and then we cut from scene. Just start with something. Yeah, there's definitely a joke to be had there, and it's giving a single line that either starts off, how could this possibly be getting dark?
Yeah.
Or something just, I don't know.
It is time to rank this thing! On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it participant, but for the good rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, awesome, fantastic episodes that you're going to watch a million times, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first, let me show you how it's done. Participant. I think I had enough laughs to sort of not make me fail this one, but the story's nonsense, and ultimately I keep wanting it to be a better episode than it is. So, there was some fun to be had, but not enough for me. So, meh, participant. BT, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm on a participant as well. There are some ideas and some jokes here that I quite like, but I just feel their execution falls really flat. And ultimately, I was just very meh about the whole thing.
All right. And Cindy?
I would say bronze, actually. And the reason I'm saying that, I guess, is a bit of a fan of the Flight of the Conchords. So I was getting the jokes when it came to that. So I was really enjoying their scenes in particular because it was sort of bringing the Flight of the Conchords in a different light. There was definitely a lot of things that could be improved on.
Yeah, I did want to say at the top of this episode, just take the Flight of the Conchords, put them in a little protective bubble and hide them up in the corner because all my criticisms about this episode do not apply to them. So, yeah.
All right, so averaging out, this will be a shiny participant. This will be joining other shiny participants like All Singing, All Dancing, the songs clip show that we reviewed a couple of months ago. Homer versus Dignity, where Homer gets raped by a panda. Judge Me Tender, when Mo becomes an American Idol judge.
Yeah.
Marge Gamer, where Marge gets addicted to WoW. And Today I Am a Clown, where Krusty has his big bar mitzvah. I almost said bris.
No. That is a different episode.
Very different thing.
That's an up late at night.
Yeah. All right. And before we move on to the next episode, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
We have theme musics. Todd Vanderwerf of the AV Club.
What's a Vanderwerf?
It's worth a C+ in this episode. It's actually kind of on par with us.
Yeah.
And he goes to say, I have no idea if the writers wrote new songs for the 2 guys in Flight of the Conchords. It was said in the credits that they wrote them. So
yeah, I mean, it's very indicative of their style. So
yeah. But the songs they sang were pretty weak. Similarly, bringing the Glee kids in to sing a take on Good Vibrations, that was frankly awful. Mostly just felt like an attempt to have guest stars in nothing parts so they could be promoted.
Yep.
Which, Glee, Fox, that actually makes a lot of sense. All right, guys, well, that'll about do it for this episode. Now, we are going to go to the teens era. Now, I also picked this episode for you, Cindy, because this was sort of a meme in our group that whenever any of us had a good idea that we didn't want anyone else to steal, what would we say?
Patent pending, patent pending, patent pending. Who's this guy?
We are going to review Season 12's Pokemon. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 12, Episode 10, Pokemon. First released in January of '01, it was directed by Bob Anderson, written by Tom Martin. In this episode, Marge takes a shine to a prisoner in Springfield Penitentiary who is an adept artist, and she campaigns for his release and takes him into the Simpsons home, and he ends up doing a mural for Springfield Elementary. And in the B story, Homer takes an attempt at being a chiropractor with his bin. Guys, what'd you think?
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a Marge do-gooder episode, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we were talking before, how much we love Marge. This is just Marge in spades in this episode.
Oh, this is all the best parts of a Marge and of a person.
Yeah.
And of her delicious biscuits and not so good sundaes.
What's wrong with my sundaes?
2 more bites. Is that enough?
Yeah, that's another thing that I felt like became a meme in our group, because it is so bizarre, because they look pretty good.
I just love that it happens twice as well.
Yeah, and I really, really, really like that it didn't sort of turn into a romance story at all. Like, there was never any hint that he was falling for Marge or vice versa, and it was just a story about Marge helping a fellow artist.
Yeah, someone she felt was too talented to be locked up, and the foibles of that.
Even if he had a really good rig.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. Hey, he's doing pull-ups there, and it's like, whoo, someone had fun at art Simpsons drawing work that day.
Yeah. To borrow a phrase from Hottest 100s and Thousands, he's looking like a snack. All right, let's get into the questionnaire. BT, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
It's just there's so many mildly quotable lines that popped up in this one that I didn't know was from this one.
Yeah.
I know it's not like what we usually talk about when we talk about standout moments, but yesterday I was literally thinking about the line of, "Oh, Daddy, why didn't you ever hug me? You hugged the mailman." It's just one of those dumb lines that I really like.
And that was Mo dealing with his emotional pain or emotional pain.
Oh, get out.
Yeah.
You've already capped your pun game at derriere, so...
You only get one funny one every 3 days, right?
Yeah, that's it.
But I'm going to call to a reference I don't think I previously got, which was, forget it, Homer, it's Cairo Town, which is a reference to Chinatown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of like a weird end for that little story, though,
yeah,
isn't
but that movie has a weird end, so...
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, it was like a little side diversion in, this otherwise Marge episode.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many great little moments that I really, really ended up liking.
From the Cairo story?
Yeah, just from the whole episode. It's just full... the other one I'm going to quickly mention now is just the sound of gun cocking. Marge tells a joke and the prisoners are all just deadpan, then... And then later on, Skinner does the same thing.
The worst part is that I'm like, okay, within a prison, that doesn't make sense. Unless it was one of the guards. But then, yeah, it totally makes sense that someone brought a gun to a school. How about you, Cindy? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
Oh, ouch. About that gun thing.
It's for Americans.
I agree with BT. I don't think that there was anything particularly standoutish for me. I really like this episode. I did think straight away it was quite funny when she's trying to get Homer out of bed, and one of the buttons does say max power.
Max power.
I enjoyed that, and there was a little bit of a dyslexia joke in there when it was girl power and he said it was grill power.
Yeah. Even then, it's we have to go to the apron expo, and then later on, it wasn't for me. Too many aprons.
But everyone ended up having a good time. Lisa got her barbecue as murder apron.
Yep. Bart got his lead apron.
Jesus. And, we were saying it's one of these first act has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it just gets them out and driving. Prison rodeo today. Pull in. That's it.
Yeah, go Bull, toss his salad.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the moment from this episode that stood out to me was this, rodeo section where, Homer drags Lisa in front of a bull to get it to, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But, a good bit. And I like how he referenced, wait, Bart, where's your blue shirt? I don't have a blue shirt. And it's that's his B alternate outfit, you know, when you press triangle in Mortal Kombat instead of X.
You get the alternate costume. I do have a quick John's Tentacle! In the sense that it's not red that entices bulls, it's merely movement, and they just made the capes red for shits and giggles.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was red.
No, it's the flourish of the cape.
Oh, I like there's this comic and, a bull's setting a table and he throws out the tablecloth and it's red and he makes himself mad and Oh,
yeah, no, I still like the trope. They can do some funny things with it. But it's for everyone out there who's thinking about fighting bulls or raising bulls, or maybe if you've got a hilarious sitcom idea where you live with a bull
Yeah.
and you work together in a china shop. Call me Fox, I'm full of ideas.
I can hear the canned audience laughter now. But yeah, I thought like this rodeo is actually, when you break it down, a weird way to introduce a character who is an artist.
Yeah, but I mean, it gets our foot in the door.
Yeah.
It's a reason for them to be at the prison. It's something Homer would absolutely go, cool thing, pull in straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Jack, but one of the prisoners, Bob Dylan, wrote a song to keep him in
No,
prison.
it was Jack. Yeah.
It was Jack, yes.
Yeah, which is another reference I didn't get until I learned about the hurricane.
Yeah. Oh, right, of course.
Yep. Yeah, good song, good movie.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Sad historical event.
You don't know the story of the
You've
hurricane?
lost me. Yeah, sorry.
No, the man the authorities came to blame.
For something that he never done.
Put in a prison cell but one time. He could have been the champion of the world.
Viola solo. Anyway.
Okay.
Good
No.
song.
No.
Yeah, anyway, there was this boxer that was unfairly prisoned and spent a long time in prison. And yeah, Dylan wrote like an 8-minute song about it, and it's fucking excellent.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And
I'll
there
have
was-
to look it up.
And Denzel.
Denzel Washington
Yeah.
was in the movie. Yeah. He eventually did get freed, but after many, many years.
Yeah, someone said, yeah, caramelize his creme brulee. I thought that was an interesting line. Play count. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
Oh, I'd say about 6.
Yeah?
Yeah, something like that. I'm
Yeah.
going to say half a dozen.
Yeah, I'll say a baker's dozen. Yeah, not too many, but, you know, I absolutely love season 12. It definitely has some low lights, and you can see the show falling apart, but yeah, the good episode's still great. So how about some of the wacky moments of this episode?
Well, I mean, Jack did paint a unicorn in space. I ask her, what's it breathing?
Air?
There's no air in space.
Well, there's an Air and Space Museum.
Then throws him out.
Yeah, the prison guards were actually being really nice to Homer, letting him complain despite their no complaining policy.
And the no complaining sign, most
Yep.
importantly. There's
Yeah.
a sign, I'm not allowed to complain. I wish that worked.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't it be great?
Our hospitals would be so much quieter.
So few complaining.
Just suck it up. I don't care that you got an
God.
axe in the shoulder.
Yeah, how about you go to the walk it off ward?
All right, well, here's 2 teaspoons of concrete, and maybe you can harden the fuck up.
Yeah. Here's your test results. It turns out you're a little bitch.
Should I call you a wham-ulence?
I like how much material we got out of that one. That's good. This is another one where it's not like full whack. I suppose Homer's spinal adjustment is maybe the wackiest parts, but it's great little things like I'm having a club sandwich of pain, but with agony for bacon, and can I have a BLT? How would you feel if I volunteered at the prison? Well, first, I'd like a BLT.
Yeah. Just still not forgetting that as his first priority in his brain. But then he'd be proud. And I like that it also wasn't a story about Homer getting jealous of this other guy.
No.
He was genuinely proud that his wife was going to do volunteer work.
It's all surface, which is great because that's the story that is interesting. Having the whole love triangle bullshit would have been so annoying and boring.
Like, I feel like it's even annoying for me to bring up, but we just have this so often in the HD era where, oh, there's a guy and a girl. They've obviously got to fall in love at some point. Yeah.
Nope.
Like, yeah, there was an awkward episode, Cindy, where, like, Marge and Flanders have a couple of will they, won't they moments.
Yeah, and
And
it's stupid as shit.
very, very not good.
Not Flanders.
I know. Anyone but Flanders. Stupid, sexy Flanders. Another great little whack. Again, a great line as well. It's just, ooh, art class, la-dee-da. Ooh, solitary, la-dee-da.
I like this. It kind of reminds me of the invisible typewriter bit. Fruitcake. A bit of wackiness that I didn't really like was Skinner's. When I thought Chalmers said paint a school mural, I thought he said school Muriel. Thanks, Bruce Valanche. And then Bruce Valanche is there. Whoopi would have made it work. How? That's not a good joke.
Nope.
And also, why the fuck is Bruce Valanche writing Skinner's material? Like, it just makes no sense, and it just feels like, hey, Bruce Valanche was free for a line.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't even know
I don't
who it
know
is.
who it is, so
He's a comedian.
I've just gone very quiet over here. I saw that he was wearing a Fred Flintstone shirt,
Yeah.
and that was
Again,
as
you
much
can
interest as I
extract
got.
from context that he's some kind of writer.
Is he a
comedian.
Hanna-Barbera writer or something?
He's just a comedian and a writer, and I think he mostly just does writing gigs these days, like writing for people, like Whoopi
And school
Goldberg.
principals.
Yeah. Is that, like, it wasn't even the dig that he was, like, not doing well? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great, but there's a lot of this episode that was good that made me overlook stuff like that.
What are some other good wacky moments then?
I'll be honest with you, Homer. Modern medicine kind of falls into a hole when it comes to the back. We're really focused on the front. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff up there.
Yeah. Now, that was good, and I felt like it did make a couple of, funny enough commentaries on the whole chiropractic industry.
When he's like, first adjusts Homer's spine and goes, it's not cracking. Now you're going to hear a loud crack.
Yeah.
It's a realignment, not a crack.
Ah.
And then I just said, I'm going to need to see you 3 times a week for many years.
Yeah. With that sly smirk as well.
Yeah.
And have you done your exercises? Of course I haven't done my exercises.
Yeah, I did them when you were doing your homework.
But Cindy, as someone who's had experience with chiropractors and stuff,
yes.
Does this ring true at all for you?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of cracking involved, I suppose.
Yeah.
They definitely don't throw you over a bin, or as he called it, a spino cylinder. Patent pending.
No,
that was
Imagine if they did it in Australia though, with the Sulo bins. Oh, ouch. For Americans, our bins are like rectangular.
Yeah, not very spine friendly.
Any other wacky moments?
Oh, there's so many good one-liners, I think, in this one.
Yeah. The rest, everything else I've got wacky is just a one-liner.
Yeah, I've got lots of people shoot up who it's just $100 fine now.
In fact, he was very gentle. He stayed with me the whole time, and then the cops came and he ran like a deer.
I do love that. Ran like a deer.
That's very graceful.
And I love that a shapely female has no place in art. What was it? The shapely female form has no place in art. And I thought that was very public school.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, Skinny Boy was such a little bitch in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel for Jack in that
Did
moment.
you, Leuven, look at the napkin?
I was on a roll that day.
Yeah, he's like, normally Skinner's not that much of a dick, but yeah, he's really laying on thick this time.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit of a character break how he sort of like pivoted and tried to like put the blame on Jack.
Yeah.
But then
Then again, that's what he does around Chalmers. He's like, oh no, it wasn't my idea, it was the children's fault.
Yeah.
Always pointing the fingers, generally.
Yeah, and just while we're here with wackiness, the whole Jack burning up the mural at the end. I did like how it burnt down and it like made the old mural look extra cool.
Oh yeah.
Like
surrounded by flames. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a fucking, I don't know, like
cover of a Dio album.
Yes. Yes, it was a 1980s Dio album cover, I swear. Yeah. But I thought it was a good point as well to have Lisa be really into it as well. That it wasn't just
it wasn't just Nelson, who everyone thought it was cool.
Yeah, it wasn't just an exploitative female form. No, it was a fucking badass battle woman riding a fucking badass puma.
It talks to the passion that Jack has for making these things, that it leaps off the wall and all that kind of stuff. That it's not just cool looking. He's also good at it.
Yeah, much better than the puma holding the kid's hands and skipping through the flower gardens.
Yeah, what did Flanders say? That's sugary even for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Stupid, sugary Flanders.
So, how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
For Marge, 100%. She's really trying here. And when, Jack's first like, I'm going to tell you honestly, I didn't burn the mural. It's like, well, I believe you. And she's really trying everything, and it just blows up in her face. And I really like the episode for not making it seem like every ex-con can't be trusted. Just this one in particular is a dirtbag.
Yeah.
I think he had moments as well. It's that redeeming quality thing in him that he did have soft moments, and I think the whole you
can see how she bought it.
Yeah, she bought it, but and you could understand why. And it's
absolutely.
also that he wasn't inherently a bad person. He just did bad things, I think.
Yeah, and still a gifted artist as well, and she probably sees a lot of herself and her gifts sort of in him as well, and I feel like the episode implied that too. Yeah,
exactly. It implied it didn't overly beat you over the head with, I just see him as an artist who also never got the chance to flower, just like I did when I was a teenager. Which is good. Subtext. Thank you, Simpsons.
But and her helping the other prisoners as well. That's nice, Sir Dunnigus. But instead of like a stabbing motion, we use a brushing motion. We've just got real sweet Marge on top form in this episode.
Especially like when she's I wanted to do fresh fruit, but the prison only had sauerkraut. Yeah. We always need some light on it. Just the shadow of prison bars.
Yeah. It's so bleak. Although Jordan's anal corner. Like, they gave Jack an airbrush. They'd no way they'd let that kid in the prison. That's a metal thing that could be good at stabbing.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the Donegas proved you can do that with a paintbrush too, but yeah.
When you're in prison, anything could be a knife.
Yes, that's true.
If you work hard enough.
Yep. Carrots, newspapers,
yep.
Lunch trays.
The tidy whitey fighty.
A snitch's shin bone?
Dark.
To use on the same snitch. Use on the same snitch, yeah. And they said schnitzel. I'd be a prison schnitzel.
That's when you deep fry a snitch.
Ew, I don't want to be that anymore.
Snitchel. Yeah, and then when Marge's like, oh, he's going to be released into my care, she was still really sweet about it.
It was unexpected, but, she embraced it.
Yep, as unexpected as getting accidentally choked by the
I do like
handcuffs.
that. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and you really feel for Marge where she was just so disappointed at the end. She's doing this cute little ruse with, I've got evidence, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to guess.
Oh, is it DNA? Oh, so it's like DNA.
Now I want to guess. That was so cute how that whole thing played out.
And just there are microcosms of that earlier on where it was like, oh, it's beautiful. Do you have a title? A Time to Kill. Titles are hard.
Yeah. So, yeah, you really feel for Marge at the end when, she does see just Jack just gassing the shit out of Skinner's car.
I would like to point out, though, the car remains white in the next scene. So that's a little bit of an accident there.
I could see you dancing around saying that it was something like that, so I knew I had to dive into it slowly. Jordan's Hannah Connor.
But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yep, you got the...
Homer job that has a wacky nonsense that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Homer being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And falling upwards into success as well. Yeah. And, Marge just... there's not enough Marge episodes, and so, when we do get it, it's excellent. But
we get one that isn't, about any kind of romantic subplot or nonsense like that. It's just about her trust being betrayed and the sadness of that.
Yep. But yes or no, would you watch it again?
Absolutely.
Of course.
For sure. And we're all going to watch it again. Maybe we'll put it in a playlist. What playlist does this belong in?
Springfield Prison.
Yeah, Springfield Prison episodes. Yeah, Marge as an artist. Pair this with Brush with Greatness where she paints Ringo and all that stuff.
Sunday playlist. So there's also the one where it's like, I'm wondering how someone who works in an ice cream parlor has such a trim figure. I misjudged you, giant sundae. Or when Lisa's angry at Homer and Lisa's pony and he makes it that giant sundae.
Yep.
Sundays.
Perfect.
I'm on Sunday now.
And we just said before Homer jobs, the brief moment that he was a chiropractor.
Well, when Marge gets a job as well, because she does go up and work in the prison and she has been a police officer, so that's another...
That's true, which we covered last time in episode 106.
Marge being the authority.
Yeah. BT, is there anything you'd like to change about this episode?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think there's a couple of quick lines like that Whoopi would have made it work. You could chuck that. It feels like that was a writer's room joke, like something that the writers got and they thought was funny, but the rest of the world was like, nope.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think so.
How about you, Cindy? Is there anything you'd like to change?
I think the drive off into the sunset was a bit strange.
Actually, no. Yeah. That last bit is a bit weak.
Talking about they only get basic cable. I didn't think that was necessarily that interesting. It was just another time filler.
Well, also, Wiggum's a cop. Shouldn't he have some idea what prison is like?
Well, he doesn't work in the prison. He just sends people there, I guess. But I like the idea of Wiggum, happily chatting as he drives. That's funny, but I guess the content was just a bit... so I like this show. We have basic cable. Oh, yeah, right. Well, what about this show? Basic. That was it.
Yeah. It felt like, them riffing in the studio, and it doesn't always translate. Although the sunset did look pretty.
It looked pretty.
The sunset was pretty, yes.
As for what I'd change, look, there were moments of this episode being flat, but I don't really know how to, perk any of it up because I really did like how Marge's story built, but I will say just objectively, Homer's story was only 3 scenes and then a hard, sudden stop, and it didn't really feel resolved, but also it was just the
B story,
a silly little
just
B,
a wacky little fun.
Yeah, fun little diversion that wasn't necessary to wrap it up. So, I've got problems, but I'm also not at all qualified to fix them. This isn't an easy fix. There are some episodes where we're like, well, put out that fire, and don't start that fire.
Maybe take this garbage fire and throw it in that landfill over there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Guest stars of the episode. So, do you guys know who played Jack Crowley?
Lou Reed.
No.
No, I don't.
Liza Minnelli.
Liza.
He was one of the Batmen.
Lou Reed.
Will Arnett.
The most recent Batman. No, it was Michael Keaton.
Nice.
Who was a Batman and a Birdman and another Birdman.
Yep.
Vulture. I thought he did a good job. It actually didn't really sound like him
No,
either.
he grizzled his voice up a bit.
No, I definitely wouldn't have picked that up at all.
No.
Yeah.
I know it was someone, but I couldn't remember who.
There was a lot of gristle in that steak, wasn't there?
Now, let's paint.
And Robert Skymel, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and unfortunately he's deceased as well. He's a comedian that played one of the prisoners, and also, of course, Bruce Valanche, and Charles Napier was the warden, who is the warden in everything.
Yeah, in everything.
BT, any other notes?
Yep. Marge, I appreciate the cookies, but I've seen this warden turn down brownies. Honest to God, brownies.
Yeah.
And that about it. It's like, they tried to push you out of business. Now you're trying to push me out of business. Think about the irony. Just stop doing it. Not until you think about the irony. I've definitely thought that before. Just think about the irony.
Yeah. How about you, Cindy? Any other notes?
I loved the little limbo out of the garage that showed us that they were chiropractors and
Like,
not.
investors don't have that kind of flexibility.
So that was quite funny. And we have seen that Marge's cooking is really always very
Yeah.
involved. You know, she greased the wheels of justice with cookies today, but she's also does the Rice Krispie squares for the church bake sale,
Oh, yeah,
and
she
that's
makes
why they
a-
get her out of jail at some point too. Remember?
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly the amount Marge's Rice Krispies was bringing.
Yeah, her baking has really corrupted the prison system, hasn't it?
It has. Oh, and she called him a crumb bum too.
Yeah,
so,
I
you
know.
know, more baking.
That is,
It feels like that's the worst thing that Marge could call a person, you know?
yeah.
You crumb bum.
Mhm. She broke out the C word for that one.
All right, it's time for my final notes. I liked in the opening scene when Marge does, hit max power, closes up the bed, and you see a red trickle, and it turns out to be his juice box.
Yeah, and it does get thrown back to later. It's like, well, just time to hit the hay with a juice box. And
Yeah, really enjoyed that. This guy went to prison for erecting a nativity scene on city property. There's so much evil in the world. Very good. And as a former clown, yeah, me and my fellow clowns love the joke of the rodeo clowns. Is my lipstick even? Do this.
yeah,
Oh, I love a little bit of drag.
Yeah, I want to see RuPaul's Drag Race clown season.
Well, you just go watch any of Bianca Del Rio's episodes.
I'm
Oh,
assuming that's a burn.
No, she'd love it.
we saw Sideshow Bob taped up in the infirmary, like his full head cast.
Yep.
And then later on, Marge goes, but I saw Sideshow Bob in the prison. He said he's going to see you real soon.
Is that Bob? I like at this point, it's just a joke. They
Yeah.
don't even like gulp. It's like Bob.
Yeah.
And in that scene, they did have the bull horn that was the other way. It had turned around the wrong
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
and they were bandaging the bull
Bandaging
up.
the bull's horn.
Yeah, it was
Oh, I
nice to see
didn't
that
see
they were looking after the bull
Mm-hmm.
after its battle with the fence.
I wonder if they were like prison bulls.
Yeah.
Like, they also erected nativity scenes on city property.
Wrecked up a china shop, and so they've got
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Yeah. His painting of Hendrix is also really badass. I really love
yeah.
that. And I'm a
It's
big
good.
fan of Hendrix. And I can't believe he painted it with pudding.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah. There was a bad joke, though, where Jack goes, which way is Mecca?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Marge was all, yeesh. And it's like, no.
And then I'm Jewish, lol.
Yeah.
It depends
That
what you mean
hurt.
by yeesh, because I think her thing was, I don't know which way Mecca is because I'm not Muslim. And I think that was what they were going for, not a, oh no, what kind of foreigner have I let into my house? So context.
Felt that's what they were going for,
Because
though.
I've always taken that as, I don't know, and I don't know how to tell you, and I feel uncomfortable now.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree it was just unnecessary, but I take it more to, if someone walked into, our house and asked where Mecca was, we'd be like, oh, sorry, I have literally no idea. I don't know which way north is.
Let me check my iPhone. Siri, which way is Mecca?
You know what? The world's a sphere. Just aim in any direction, you'll hit it eventually.
Oh, dear.
I know, controversial opinion, the world's a sphere, but whatever.
Yeah, these days it is, surprisingly. I like how Mo originally submitted a drawing for the school, and we didn't see it, but yeah, Skinner just goes, whoever thought lovemaking could look like this?
But with Skinner, that could have been very vanilla still.
No,
So
no, dude, Mo was like, oh, I'll give you a mural. Little physical education.
Oh, no, that's pure pride. There's probably something also really
you don't
bad about
think
that.
about it too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was a good joke of Mo doing something weird that we never see versus in the last episode where it felt like it was leading up to at least something that it didn't deliver on.
It's a rare tell, don't show moment as well.
Yeah.
But it is a bit of a promise that Mo does have more talents than just pulling beer because he's put in a mural and he's also playing some songs in a local bar that's not his own. So
yeah, and now that
hidden talents,
he doesn't have the physical pain to focus on, he can use his emotion to fuel his art as well. There you
go, Mo. You do you.
Well, not all the way. Don't go full Mo.
Never go full Mo.
It's time to rank this thing. BT started off.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this one. I think it's got two storylines that, the chiropractor one doesn't really go anywhere, but you also don't need it to. You get your jokes out of it. I like the storyline. I like that it's consistent, so I am going to silver this one. I have some fun. I have some laughs. Killed some time.
All right. And Cindy, there's the scoring sheet if you'd like to have a quick update. Can you even see it from that angle?
I can now see it, yes. So I'm thinking that it was definitely a gold.
Yep.
I love this episode. I could watch it again and again. And I always pick up something new. I think
that's what I like about
the
this
best.
one.
Yeah, best thing about the old episodes is that there is always a line that you've missed. And I love that. And I can definitely see myself watching again.
Yeah. Yeah, this does feel like one of these sort of classic teens, sort of where the crossover really happens. I mean, having said that, I'm still going to give it a silver. It's so good. There's so many quotable moments, but there is just a certain flatness that I just can't escape from. But I do absolutely have a lot of fun with this episode. I'm going to watch it again and again. And yeah, that was fun. Let's watch it again sometime. All right, guys. Well, that'll equal a shiny silver all around. There's not many shiny silvers, actually. This will also be joining Monty Can't Buy Me Love, where Mr. Burns steals the Loch Ness Monster. Children of a Lesser Clod, where Homer becomes a babysitter after his knee gets all he does his ACL. Grifted the Magi.
Yeah.
With the Funzo robots. Weekend at Burnsies, where Homer gets into pot. Springfield Up, where it's like a 7-Up documentary, but with Springfield resonance. And a Hunker Hunker Burns in Love, where Mr. Burns falls for Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah. All right, guys. It's time for our classic episode. And oh my God, I am just so fucking excited to do this one. BT, what words would you use to describe this episode?
I think I could really explain it in maybe 2 phrases. One is, where's the fife? And 2 is, give me the fife.
So we'll be watching Lisa the Iconoclast. Oh my God, I can't wait. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode for the evening. This was Season 7, Episode 16, Lisa the Iconoclast. First released in February of 96, it was directed by Mike B. Anderson and written by Jonathan Collier. In this episode, you all know this one. This is the one where Lisa exposes the truth of Jebediah Springfield, but then doesn't. What'd you think?
Great fun.
Ooh, I'm going to be a little bit...
You didn't like it?
Scare you. I think maybe it's because I've seen this episode so often. It bores me.
Oh, wow. What?
Oh, I know. I just threw a spanner in the works, didn't I?
It is a little more plot heavy, and being a plot heavy one, if you know that plot, it's not quite got the momentum of some of the more joke driven ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, this is just such a fantastic showcase of Lisa, and it all being a story. Yeah, I sort of get what you're saying with the whole total plot thing, but yeah, for me, this is just such an important Lisa episode.
There is effectively a B story in Homer being town crier. They're splinters from the same cell. It's effectively a B story, but they emerge so quickly and so frequently that it's still effectively an A.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Homer just really embodies the town cry. He's Daniel Day-Lewising that shit.
Oh, yeah. Full method.
The Homer broadcasting system is on the air, all hollering, all the time.
You will limit yourself to the parade and pre-approved events.
Okay. And so, yeah, I'm going to jump ahead and say that's the part of the episode that stood out to me was Homer in this town crier thing. Man, he just wanted this job so bad. And, he absolutely shined in it when...
Oh, yeah. Chooseth Homer Simpson, and he shalt rock thy world. Yeah.
Yeah, chooseth. Yeah, and the look when he loses his job... And
he's just in the hat, just ringing, just shaking the alarm clock.
Getting the little bit of bell that you can get out of that. And when he's like, oh, Lisa, I shouldn't have gotten you to get me so worked up about this, and sort of gives that half smile, and then
that just fades.
So dejected.
Everyone puts their head down and the pan out. There's a little bit of a sadness there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is the opposite of Homer doing the you got the dud face.
The slow spreading smile.
Yeah. The opposite of that is just the slow, sullen, head falling down. Yeah.
Instead of it's a smile you can hear.
BT, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
I mean, God, it's got to be The Simpsons, one of the many Simpsons contributions to the English language. He's embiggened that role with his cromulent performance. just that opening one, it's like, Biggins. Why have I never heard that word before I came to Springfield? I don't know why. It's a perfectly cromulent word.
Yeah.
That's just a fucking comedy writing masterclass right there. And to bring it up again later when they have like little throws to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, goddamn.
It's genius. And like the writers apparently slaved over these words. And
yeah, because they sound like, it literally sounds like something like, I guess that must be a word and I'm just unaware of it.
Well, they've used it in the context very perfectly that you know exactly what they mean.
Exactly. And again, with the reprise of the two words, they've used the same context. So you know, by this point, you know what these words mean.
Yeah. So these words are accepted in dictionary.com at least. Mm-hmm. And I know Embiggens is in the Merriam-Webster. Cromulent hasn't made it over, but anyway. Embiggens was written by Simpsons writer Dan Greaney, and cromulent was by David X. Cohen, who you might know from Futurama fame. Yeah, it's just a bizarre thing that they pervaded the English language like this, and that they did these drops of Embiggens and cromulent throughout the episode, to the point that when I was a kid, I thought that when Skinner said in the parade, this is highly unorthodox, I didn't know that was a word, and I thought they were still doing that joke, and I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was like my parents, and like we're watching this episode, and I'm like laughing at unorthodox. Oh, that's ridiculous, and they're like, what?
What a wacky word.
Yeah.
Unorthodox.
Yeah. Turns out it's a word.
Yeah. So the other thing I did want to bring up very quickly is the very first frame of this entire episode is Rental Films Presents. It's like, given the name of the film company is funny.
Yeah. How about you, Cins? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
When she goes and visits the Historical Society, I did like his name is Horace Hurlbut.
Yeah.
And, it's something that's kind of a bit of a throwaway joke, and I did enjoy that. And I really like a lot of it. I do like a lot of it, and I've written quite a few notes, and I love it when Ralph has a little one-liner and, can you open my milk, Mommy? One of my favourite things.
Does that happen to you often?
You get called Mommy?
Oh, quite a bit, yeah. Yep.
Do the kids laugh at all the other kid?
No, because it's normally in a very, small moment they just go, Mum,
Yeah.
They catch themselves.
Yeah, they catch themselves on it, so that's all right. And I also, with Horace Hurlbut, when he was talking about going through the river to save on the bridge tolls.
It was treacherous to life and limb, but it saved on bridge tolls.
And their destination was actually New Sodom. Yeah. And I thought that was...
It just ties into the... they left Massachusetts after misinterpreting a passage in the Bible.
It was actually Maryland.
Whatever.
Yeah, so they went to Maryland, was there a joke in there that Maryland sounds like something Bible-y?
No, they left Maryland. So I'm assuming they're leaving Maryland because they misinterpreted a chapter in the Bible.
Yeah.
And I'd have to reread the parts of Genesis where they've mentioned Sodom and Gomorrah to see if there's a bit where it's like, you can misinterpret it. But I kind of feel like there might be.
Yeah.
Just to add the extra layer of the joke.
Definitely something that you don't get as a kid, going to New Sodom.
No.
Yeah. Well, actually, that is something that stood out to me about this episode as well. There is so many deep-cut references in this. Like, the whole, exhuming Jebediah Springfield is based on President Zachary Taylor, whose body was dug up to do some further investigation into whether or not he got assassinated or not.
Oh, neat.
Well, we've just had recent ones on other podcasts with Teacher's Pet making them have it to go and dig up a whole backyard of someone that's lived there for 20 years and didn't know that there was a possible murder or a possible body in their backyard. So,
That's the stakes raised. We're going to have to go dig someone up for this podcast. If you would like your body dug up, write to Simpsons Index at Twitter.
There was one thing actually that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
When they're talking about all of the things that he used to help find Springfield, they say it's his hatchet to hack oppression. Then he says, and the chamber pot. So what do you think they could use as a line in there if they were going to extend on it?
In which he removed the filth of modern life.
where he relieved himself of the stresses that bore his bowels.
I thought it looked a bit like a cauldron, so I was thinking maybe like where he
certainly not a cauldron.
Where someone mistakenly made him soup or something like that.
But yeah, I just like the whole awkward chamber pot.
Seriously though, I think there's more things that could have been said about that chamber pot.
No, but I think I like the awkward silence, especially with like his fife on which he sounded the sweet note of freedom, the hatchet which he hacked at oppression, and his chamber pot.
Donald Sutherland as well, guest star of this episode. He was on fucking fire, and in a very downbeat Donald Sutherland way.
Yeah, he's just got a good voice. I just like to hear him read some stuff.
Yeah, so an interesting thing, sounds like you've come down with a case of jebeditis. And
just after I got over my Chester A arthritis.
You had arthritis?
No.
So apparently he improvised the "you had arthritis" line.
Really. It's because I really like... Because he's the one who first started with the jebeditis, and then he just kind of misinterprets his own conversation.
But yeah, it's so delightfully awkward. And just, he says, no. Very cute. All right, so play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode? A lot, Cindy?
Oh, let's put it in the high teens, I reckon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about you?
The manies.
Yeah, I might have even seen this 100 times, maybe.
Was that like 25 on Canary, 25 on Yellow Rod, 25 on Saffron, and 25 on, I've forgotten.
Paella.
Paella.
You know, it's actually one of those situations because I know I VHS taped this from Channel 10. I got a videotape Simpsons compilation, which was like The Hidden Secrets of Springfield, which had this, the Simpsons X-Files crossover, and the Homer Badman sexual harassment one. Then, bought the DVDs. So, I know I've seen this a shameful amount of times. But how about some of the wacky moments of this episode? What were some of the cartoony moments that stood out to you?
I really like the transition from flashback to Jebediah Springfield going, and the fools of this town will never know. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
Cuts back to Lisa.
Yep, classic writing, your maniacal laughter, and
Again, it's a lot of ones. We've had not like a whole lot of wacky in these three.
Yeah.
But things like when Miss Hoover's handing out the assignments, goes, I want you to all write essays, and the best 8 team will be put on display. And it's like
will be
18
put
out of
in
20.
File.
Yeah.
On file. Can we do illustrations?
Yeah. I kind of fucked that up where it's, she says there's going to be 20 essays done, and the best 18 will go on file.
For anyone that requests.
For anyone that requests.
So not only is it the worst prize imaginable, but also there's going to be 18. 2 people are just getting kicked out.
Oh, and poor Ralph. Let him do illustrations. He's not going
to... Speaking of, can we get some James Earl Ralph for this in the milk line?
Can we do illustrations? It'd help if I didn't laugh, holding back laughter the whole time through it. Can you open my milk, Mommy?
For those new to the podcast, and that includes Cins, this is where we have Elliot do his James L. Jones impression over Ralph lines.
Which I fully admit that Danny Rosewell does it better. He can just hit those, I don't know, it's
those really low...
It's like 3 semitones, and I thought having a bigger barrel chest than him would help me, but no.
Simba.
Anyway, back to this episode. Wackiness.
There's a great bit where Betsy Ross runs in with the new American flag, and it's all like, I found the white stars you wanted, but I couldn't get any yellow hearts, green clovers, or red balloons, like for Lucky Charms.
Oh!
Yeah, so I'll take it, but I'm not paying for it.
I just thought that was a joke because, then it'd just look like a crappy children's art project. But
well,
no,
it would, but it's also a
Lucky
reference
Charms.
to Lucky Charms.
Oh, see, I didn't get that because I have never eaten Lucky Charms.
They're very sugary.
Diabetes in a box, hey?
Yeah.
Pretty much. You have been to America, though, haven't you?
Yeah.
But I just came back from Hawaii recently, and they've got a cereal that's just cookies.
Yeah, Cookie Crunch.
Yeah.
I invented that with Tiny Teddies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tiny Teddy cereal?
Yeah, Tiny Teddies, and you just put them in a bowl, and you cover it with milk, and you eat it with a spoon.
That actually sounds pretty good.
It's amazing.
That is genius.
I can't get more diabetes, so I may as well go for it. The wackiness is, she called me a PC thug. Well, I've been called a greasy thug, and it never stops hurting. So here's what we do. We grease up real good.
Yeah. Just Homer misunderstanding, but absolutely leaning into it.
Just whatever his plan was involved getting greased up somehow.
This is why he gets called a greasy thug, I hope he realizes, because he gets greased up and bashes punches things with baseball bats. But yeah, it's funny in these times as well, like where PC has become such a, like, I don't know, common use word these days, and it wasn't so much back then.
No, it was only emerging, yeah.
I suppose those ideals were always there, and Lisa has always been the uber feminist.
For real.
Yeah.
And like Miss Hoover, like going like
the bitter school teacher that can't get a date because it's not quite eHarmony time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I work with so many of those.
Really?
Yeah. That are never going to listen to this podcast. That just never found a man that was, quite right because they...
That is so sad. They're never going to listen to this podcast.
I don't know what the bigger tragedy is. Not having a husband or not listening to The Simpsons.
I don't have a husband, but I listen to this podcast and my life is so much richer.
I'm so glad they passed the plebiscite where people were allowed to listen to The Simpsons Index finally.
Can't believe we had to go to a vote. We won. Say yes.
But yeah, just her dead white male bashing. Like, oh my God. Like, what a horrible person.
Yeah, because an 8-year-old wrote an essay, she can't get a husband.
Yeah. And as far as wackiness goes, yeah, the whole exhuming scene as well. They're treating it very seriously. They're being so respectful. And then Mr. Wiggum, and then Police Chief Wiggum turns it into a fucking Punch and Judy.
Oh, why don't you sing a song for us then?
Well, why do our meetings always end with digging up a corpse?
That is such a good line that they just sort of throw away.
And it's the Town Jubilation Committee. So what does that even mean? And then, they have a meeting.
I got something that's going to make you a whole lot less jubilant.
But there's meetings and they always end with digging up a corpse.
Yeah, jubilant.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's an interesting connection there.
It's still Springfield.
Pull his bones out of the ground.
Dig up his grave. Smash up that corpse.
And they're a great bit of kind of wacky because it is a dream where it's like, no, I want to help you, George Washington. I want to help you, George Washington.
Yeah.
Even your dreams are square.
I did love her. Don't pick Janie. She'll pack the Supreme Court with boys.
You can just imagine
More feminism right there.
It's interesting how they sort of made wackiness out of a real world thing. The whole George Washington painting, which was apparently unfinished, but
it's got a very distinct look. You could buy it as a tailline, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing how they did take a real world thing out of this. And
Also, during the fight, George Washington bites Hans Sprungfeld's testicles while taking out his dentures. His wooden dentures.
Yes.
That happened off screen.
I know. It
was on screen.
Really?
Yeah.
Editing Bay Elliot Jay here to say that with absolute certainty, you do not actually see Washington clamp the dentures down on Jebediah's balls. I think there was a slight confusion in our conversation here because you are given every other visual clue to tell you that this is what happened, even though you don't ever see any denture to testicle contact. Anyway, back to the show.
You see him grab a pair of dentures. George Washington famously had a mix of wooden and ivory teeth.
Is that right?
And bites Hans Sprungfeld on the balls with them.
Wait, his teeth was part tree and part elephant tusk?
Pretty sure.
Wow.
I mean, that could just be a myth that got mixed up in the truth. Because if he had a silver tongue, then how did he talk and eat and laugh and love?
Love Homer's reaction. He had a tongue made out of silver. Yes, that'll do. I just love hearing about that shit because, it's the past was like a really fucked up place to be, and it's like...
Hey, we've said it before on this show, the history is a terrible place to live.
Yeah.
Now, just on that fight scene quickly as well, every time there's a punch, the screen flashes white for just a second, and it's very effective.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That was a very tense fight moment. I loved it.
It's got the whole... Take that, George Washington. No, Sprungfeld. Yeah.
One man fighting show here. And the other bit of wackiness that I wanted to mention was, the intro documentary, just how purposefully bad it was.
Yeah.
Like a boom comes into shot at one point.
Yeah. You can clearly tell he's riding mechanical bull just being pushed by stagehands, and then the long shot you can see it's a stuntman.
Yeah, without the moustache and sideburns.
And the great line of when they see the buffalo and the woman's like, it's hideous. It's like some kind of land cow.
The buffalo was already tame. I'm really shut it. Fantastic. So how about some of the hearts in this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
I mean, you already mentioned Homer's slowly fading smile when he's just trying to ring the alarm clock.
Yeah.
But go on, Lisa's whole struggle.
I think this is a classic episode where Homer has his belief in his daughter because he knows that he's not that smart.
Yeah.
And he really understands that about himself. And he says, you're always right about this stuff.
This time I want in on the ground floor.
No, that's nice because it's so often she's coming up against Homer in this sort of stuff. And he's being so supportive and it's lovely.
And he risks things for her, which is a very rare Homer thing to see, I think.
Yeah.
That's the sweet moment for me. Homer believing in her and actually saying, you're normally right about this stuff, so I'll back you all the way. And that's something that's very, very rare in Homer's character.
And how they establish what Lisa's up against, because even Marge dismisses her, because she's like, everyone knows Jebediah Springfield was a true American hero, end of story.
Yeah.
And it's like, then that's kind of the attitude of the town. Like, it's not that they necessarily hate the idea, it's that they hate having their history challenged.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, even Mo, he's down with most prejudice you can name.
The herophobia is just, my God.
I love how flippantly he I'm down with most prejudice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what a horrible person.
But he's in every episode that we've done today as well, I noticed. So even in the
Mo
smallest
connection.
parts, he's always seems to be hanging, Mo.
Yeah. Other heart moments, it's sort of hard to talk about this episode because it feels like it's all heart, but also not.
Yeah, well, it's all uncovering the truth.
Yeah. Which I will say is a weird thing for Hollis Hurlbut at the end. First of all, he hit the silver tongue in a pretty obvious place, right?
And did you notice the silver tongue had weird, 4 connected parts at the bottom? So I thought to myself, does that get connected to the back of your throat or something?
In the
How would
diagram,
that
it's
be?
meant to be connected to the back teeth.
Right.
But, it is confusing how it works because, if the connectors go, in the top and the bottom row, then that blocks, the pipe that you need to swallow things.
Well, I think you need to remember that a wizard did it.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah, anyway, so, I'm fake silver tongue enthusiast, right in. But what do you guys think about them deciding to just keep the myth going? What do you reckon, about them deciding to continue the cover-up?
The old beautiful lie kind of thing.
Sounds a lot like all of history, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at any textbook that you're looking at in public education or generally in education, and it will paint people that are conquering to look pretty good, even if they aren't good people, even if they are a pirate, most deviant.
Yeah, I think if I was to, think about it for a while, my brain could cook up someone that might have fit that description.
I see what you did there.
Yes. But no, I think it's a concept that is in a lot of fiction as well. And when it's done well, it's like Watchmen. That's entirely the point of that entire thing. There's something, what's it called? I think it's called The Grand High Inquisitor, which is a story about Jesus actually comes back and the church is like, what are you doing? You are so much better as a myth. If you're an actual person, people aren't going to have anything to look up to.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember what it's called, but it's interesting. And so I like it as a concept. I think, and it works because there's that great little moment where Lisa's standing on stage and looking at the veterans in military uniform and all the little old lady and everyone just wearing the pioneer hats and Apu in his waving the flag. And it's all, based on the pride of this one person who may have been a myth, but has driven people to greater heights because of that myth.
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of makes me uneasy, but I got to say, they've got to reset back to zero. You can't have this episode where they bring down Jebediah Springfield. It had changed Springfield too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The people that she was looking around at, who obviously got something. That little old lady, she's usually, yelling at people about her candy dishes and making Bart pull out thick weeds and shit. Ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yes, it did, Kent.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally. Yes or no, would you watch it again?
Yes, I would, Kent.
I want to say no. Because I have seen it that often.
It's true. It's not one I'm going to run back to, not because I dislike it, just because I've got it. I could almost play it verbatim in my head.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. And I kind of agree with you. But, objectively, someone who hasn't watched that much Simpsons, would you say, you probably should check this one out?
Oh, definitely. I think if there's someone that you're trying to introduce to The Simpsons, it's definitely an episode to go towards because it's showing a little bit of that history of the town, and it's also showing a little bit of a softer side to Homer that you don't get very often.
No, totally. And maybe if we're going to say, hey, someone out there, watch The Simpsons, you might want to put this in a playlist with a few other episodes. What other episodes would go with this one?
Parades.
Ah, parades.
They put it with the Itchy and Scratchy parade that leads into Junkietown and Bumpville.
Are we doing things that would go together in a playlist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's the one with the bashing of the snakes.
Oh,
Whacking Day, yep.
Whacking
Springfield
Day.
celebrations.
Yeah, and Lisa standing up to the structures of society that she doesn't agree with.
Lisa being a PC thug.
Yeah.
Teachers being desperate and needing a drink.
Yeah. And also, just solid Lisa episodes. Actually, our friends over at Simpsons Brackets on Twitter, who run twice yearly tournaments of like Simpsons episodes. Recently for Halloween, they did the Best Treehouse of Horror segment, and the Shitting won that one. And before that, they did Lisa Needs Brackets, which was a all Lisa episode tournament. And this one was the second place. It was
second to Lisa's Pony or Lisa the Beauty Queen?
Neither, actually.
What? Piss off! Those are amazing episodes.
No, Summer of 4'2" won the tournament. That's Lisa, the cool kids at Flanders Holiday House.
Come on.
Oh, that is a fucking...
It's a good episode.
That is the episode that you got the dud came from.
I know, but it's not better than Lisa the Beauty Queen or Lisa's Pony.
No, I don't have the rest of the brackets, but I do have the final four, which was, Summer of 4'2" that won, Lisa the Iconoclast came second, and I Love Lisa and Lisa versus Malibu Stacy came third.
We haven't done Malibu Stacy yet on this.
I think Malibu Stacy is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. We actually rewatched it recently just outside of the index.
It's a cracker.
Flawed.
I'm looking forward to that.
But no, I'm surprised I Love Lisa made it so far. That's the one where Ralph, I choose you. And
that's got all the heart in the world.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, let's be friends.
BT, is there anything you'd like to change about this episode?
Not particularly, and definitely not structurally. Maybe chuck in a few more classic, iconic moments. You know, that old recommendation.
Do things better.
Just take what you've got, which is already very nice, and just make it better.
You know how you got perfection? Can you improve on it a little?
No, it's all pretty good.
How about you, Cins?
Well, they might have been able to extend on her posters. You know, she only got to put up one poster and had it ripped down. She had 100. I'm sure that she would have tried to put them up around a little bit, and I think that they could have maybe worked with that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see just more than Apu and Mo's reactions to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they would have started, she could have started a lot more anger.
Oh, yeah.
And the parade could have been a little bit different. And
Well,
then she could go back and retract what she said.
If they pushed it too hard, then maybe when everyone stops listening to her at the parade, they would have been like, don't listen to this girl, we already know what she's going to say. So maybe that's why they steered away from it, because of their ending. But who knows? Maybe they're just short on time.
What I'd like to change... I mean, I'm interested in the version of this story where they expose Jebediah, but also the ending's kind of great also, but even though it does sort of leave me a bit weird that...
You don't feel embiggened.
Yes.
But it's perfectly cromulent, but you do not get embiggened.
It is highly unorthodox as well. Such a nonsense word. Guest stars of this episode. So of course, Donald Sutherland and Phil fucking Hartman. Oh my goodness. It was only a quick performance as him as Jebediah Springfield in the documentary, but...
May he rest in peace.
Yep.
Again. There's 3. Well, every episode there's been dead people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. The Simpsons are building up a bit of a graveyard now.
You're on for 30 years.
Yeah, for real. And musical moments as well. There was another post-credits music in this one, and I fucking love this song.
Don't know what it is now.
Whip them horses, let them wagons roll, and the people might embiggen America. Yeah. Oh, and the yas. And...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we need more songs. Just have yeah. Just in it. And so instead of like whoop whoop or whatever, it's just yeah.
Yeah. People asking me to put my hands in the air. No.
Yeah, no.
Crack a whip.
Tell me to crack a whip. Tell me to bring those doggies home. That kind of thing. Let's get some Western back in this shit.
So, BT, any other notes?
Just the old toast.
Yeah, just Homer thinking he's doing it perfectly, but just fucking it up all
just
the way.
Throwing every ye into...
I don't understand.
Hollering all the time.
Yep.
I don't understand thee, Marge.
I do like Apu's term where he's like, oh, you're as sweet as a pixie, you little pixie, you're the sweetest as sticks that bear your name. And like, oh no, if you put that up, I'll pee in as much red hots as the candy that bear that name. It's a good little turn. Like, just everything to him is convenience store stuff. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And my last is something I said on the outro of the last one. 1, where's the 5? 2, give me the 5.
Fucking classic Homer lines right there.
Yeah, and the forgery of the Emancipation Retraction.
Oh, man. When the day that this joke clicked for me, I was like, oh, but haha.
It was also a forgery. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Other jokes I didn't bring up was all the sign gags. There's a newspaper that says, pray to distract joyless citizenship. And, of course, the Springfield Historical Society is where the dead come to life. Not literally.
I think it was
actually just as
metaphorically.
yeah.
Yeah, in that newspaper thing, Homer just trying to decide who he wants to be in the parade. I could be a typhoid carrier or an apprentice.
Yeah, well, apprentice for what?
Well, my master to decide. All right, time for my final notes. Another indication that Kearney's like 30 years old. It's like he was around for Watergate, apparently.
And the bicentennial of the nation.
No, they were celebrating their bicentennial then.
Yeah, but of the Springfield. But not the nation's bicentennial.
Oh, right. Of course.
Those tall ships really lifted the nation's spirit, especially after Watergate.
Yeah. And Hollis Hobart is also consuming some interesting things. Chicory is like, it's a type of coffee or something?
It's a type of spice you can put into coffee, specifically found in New Orleans. We had some, it was good.
Yeah, Café du Monde, beignets, chicory. Fuck yeah. And he's also eating Johnny cakes, which are like pancakes made out of cornmeal.
Oh, and it was
Johnny cakes.
They're good.
Not that. No, I haven't had them, but I was thinking, here's Johnny cakes.
Yep, another reference to the shinning. I forgot to mention, Embiggen was actually used before it was discovered it was used by C.A. Ward back in 1884.
They had Simpsons fans in 1884? Wow.
Obviously. So it had turned up in text before, but that was like the only instance. A pirate? That's not the image we want for Long John Silver's.
Nice.
I like Lisa's advice of looking in his shoes. Sometimes when I lose things, I look in my shoes.
Yeah.
It's one of those Simpsons things where, like the other episode, did you check your pocket?
It was in my pocket.
Yeah.
I also like how she says it just like a little kid kind of, sometimes it's in my shoes.
It's that innocent thing again. Even though she's like, well, she's making them dig up a grave, but also I find lost things in my shoes. Giving her a bit of innocence back.
Yeah. Oh, she's so cute in this episode. But, I mean, it doesn't stop a sniper from wanting to pick her off from a fucking rooftop.
I do like afterwards it takes the shot anyway.
Yeah.
Or like misfired or something. I'm assuming it's a misfire.
But yeah, very weird that Quimby's all the way up there.
Yeah, he's saying, let's just hear what she has to say.
Oh, and also, why during the parade is Hollis Hobart at the Historical Society? Shouldn't he be out?
He had to sweep. There's going to be parade goers afterwards who want more of a taste of history, and they're going to be coming into that Historical Society, and you need those floors to look their sweptest.
And hope that they don't want to look under hoop skirts.
I mean, who would?
Or look too closely at whatever the cowboy shootout was that very obviously displayed the silver tongue, which you were just in conjecture anyway. Like, it was a bad place to hide it, Hollis. Anyway.
I mean, he also still has the confession just in his bin.
Yeah, that he didn't throw away, assumingly a day or at least later.
Yep.
Like,
you know, if you want to get technical on this shit.
Yeah, which we do on The Simpsons Index.
Occasionally.
Getting technical with shit. All right, it's time to rank this thing. BT, kick it off.
I did it last time.
Oh, right. Cindy, kick it off.
Oh, no.
Elliot, kick it off. I'm giving this a cubic zirconia. I think this episode is just an essential watch. Like, we say the difference between gold and cubic is it excellent or essential? It's kind of two sides of the same coin, but like, I honestly think that if you hadn't seen many episodes of The Simpsons and to really experience The Simpsons, like, this is just such a quintessential Lisa storyline. You know, we're saying it's like her coming up against the town, her sticking up for her beliefs and just bring out the truth, you know. And even though she compromises at the end, she does it for her own reasons and her own will. And it's, yeah, full of beautiful moments. BT.
I'm a little split on this one because my brains are saying cubic, but my guts are not. So I'm trying to think of it. I think you're right, Cins, in the sense that a lot of it has been lost to the many rewatches of it. So bearing that in mind, I am going to go with a cubic on the hopes that you don't. So it's a dull cubic overall. I don't want to influence you. That's just my feeling on it. Yeah, if you hadn't watched a lot of The Simpsons, this is a really cleverly plotted, well-paced, still funny episode that after the 58th watch has lost some of that because it is embroiled in mystery, and when you know the solution, you're always going to lose a little something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if we're coming from the approach of someone who has never seen The Simpsons, would this be essential? I would say yes, because it's such a strong Lisa episode, similar to the way that the Springfield connection we did last time was such a great Marge episode.
Yeah.
That's kind of what got me over the line to cubic for that one. So I think I'm going to apply the same principle here and go with the cubic.
And Cindy?
I'm going to bring it right down and say a silver.
Oh, wow.
And the reason for that is that I really believe that there is stronger Lisa episodes to show people.
I know, I definitely agree.
And I do find that it's a bit laboured in some of the parts, for me personally. So,
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Controversial.
I'm bringing it right down.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
fair,
I'm going to
fair.
lower your standard a little bit, but I just, for me, I do like it. It's an old classic episode where the things go as you're hoping they'll go with The Simpsons, but for me, the stronger Lisa episodes.
Yeah.
And you know what else with this one? Lisa normally does as she feels is right. And, as we've been talking about, she really does like to just go with what is right as far as she's concerned. It doesn't really matter. She just kind of doesn't give a crap about what anyone else thinks. And that is generally how she goes in every part of the story. But this one, she decides to put a hard pass on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that end part isn't very true to what Lisa's character's like either. So for me, definitely taking it down to a silver.
Feels so low for this episode, though.
That's where our heart's at, man. What do you want?
All right, so averaging out, this will be a shiny gold. This will be joining another season 7 episode Team Homer with the pin pals and the kids' uniforms and all that. And also other shiny golds. The Homer They Fall, where Homer takes up boxing. The Tuna Hasapima Pedalons, where Apu and Manjula are married. Wild Barts Can't Be Broken, which we reviewed recently as well with the, what was the movie called?
The Bloodening.
The Bloodening!
How could you forget the terror that is the Bloodening?
We know all your secrets. And 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish from season 2, which is a oddly relevant episode. All right, guys. Well, that'll about do it for the Simpsons Index. But before we get out of here, we just like to throw it to our guests and myself. What are you into lately that's outside of the Simpsons? What have you been watching, listening to? TVs, film, music, podcasts? BT, what are you into?
So a couple episodes ago, I threw to the fact that Netflix were bringing out an adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House, and I said, go read the book, because I hadn't watched the series yet. I've now watched the series. It's getting a thumbs up. It is a weird mix of incredibly subtle and incredibly overt, and I kind of hate the overt parts, but the subtle parts are astonishing. The acting is amazing. The directing's really good. It is very different from the book, so definitely go still check that out, especially if you've watched it and were a fan. But yep, go have a watch of that. And also, I was waiting for Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, to load in, and during that, I went back and played some Super Meat Boy. Super good game. If you're into high precision platforming and frustrating but brilliant, Super Meat Boy is amazing.
Yeah, I'll back that up as well. I've bought that game like 3 times now on various consoles. It's great fun. How about you, Cindy? What are you into these days?
Oh, well, if you didn't catch it before, I do love me some RuPaul's Drag Race, but that's definitely something that's a bit old news for anyone listening in the States. Do love it, and I'm looking forward to the All-Stars season. I would say I watched a couple of episodes of the new Sabrina, and I don't know if I love or hate it yet. So that's definitely something worthy of a watch just for a conversation as far as I'm concerned. Book-wise, I'm rereading, because the new book is coming out very, very soon, Throne of Glass series, which is Sarah J. Maas. Very good.
Yeah?
Yeah, if I'm rereading it and forgotten a lot of it because I read it so fast the first time. So have a bit of a reread and hoping that the new one is pretty good too.
Oh, cool. Well, I've actually been on a bad luck run lately because everything I've been trying to check out is shit. The new season of Kimmy Schmidt is crap.
I got 2 episodes and I gave up,
Yeah, 1. That for the sexual harassment, fucking garbage.
Yeah, that was garbage. Fuck, what happened to that show?
House of Cards, I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah, the first episode of that was just so overt in its,
Claire's president now, what?
Well, she was president at the end of last season, but now they're sort of working around killing off Frank Underwood because, spoiler alert, Kevin Spacey's a piece of shit, as it turns out. It used to be a show that had really subtle writing, but this is overt. It isn't society fucking messed up. And while I'm into those messengers, I didn't like The Messenger. And also the new Tenacious D album is fucking garbage.
That's sad. I haven't heard that yet. But
it's a meandering mess of awful. The dead flower petals of their old, better ideas, are just wafting aimlessly in this latest album.
I don't know. I think that I haven't listened to it, but I feel like a lot of the Jack Black genius had kind of died quite a while ago anyway. School of Rock was good to watch once. And then I've just found it anything that he's done since then, quite painful, really.
Well, I guess my problem with the album is that, like, Pick a Destiny and the first album, they had such a great sense of who they were as a band.
Yeah.
These are two fat guys with acoustic guitars that, like, that's all they're playing, but they're hearing the big fucking rock thing.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem with this latest album, is that they're delving in so many different styles, and they don't have this common goal of the rock anymore. It's and filled with some horrendous German impressions. Anyway, and then the second season of Making a Murderer was just so tediously boring. Like, the first one, like, kept me gripped from episode to episode. What's going to happen next? What's the next twist? This latest season is just their fucking lawyer going to excruciating detail and trying to figure out this crime, and it's paint drying. And, you know, I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption lately, but there's moments in that which are just so goddamn tedious that it's hard for me to recommend. So, fuck it. Bob's Burgers. It's reliable. I don't know if there's an episode of Bob's Burgers that's like a cubic zirconia, but they're all fucking solid silvers or golds, you know? Yeah, it's a good show. Sorry, I had to get on a rant. I've just been on such a bad luck streak
clearly
with
have, man.
watching
Jeez.
shit lately, man. Oh,
Did you try and watch Disenchantment?
yeah.
I gave it 2 episodes and was very disheartened.
Oh, those are the 2 best episodes.
Oh, well,
No,
I'm glad that I
episode 8
stopped.
is the best episode.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
No, it sort of felt very meandering and...
Yeah, I think the big problem with that is they knew, A, that they were going to get a full season no matter what, and B, they didn't have to worry about run times. So they just let any joke they wanted to go in rather than really kind of fine it down to a very quick, precise, this is everything we want. It's like you watch good Simpsons and they just flow so quickly and so rapidly and everything is smart and clever and witty and there's not a single wasted moment. And in that, it's just a lot of meandering. It's like, fuck it, we know we've got a whole season because we're on Netflix, so it doesn't matter. And it felt lazy.
It didn't have the magic of The Simpsons, even though it was a story about magic.
It really
Funny
didn't.
enough.
And yeah, in such like a world that can be so potentially rich like that, it felt weirdly empty. Like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of Disenchantment, but, you know, you can hear us on an episode of Pods in the Key of Springfield where, I don't know if we're just drunk or we're having a good day.
We were having a good day.
Yeah, but we were a lot more up on the series then.
No, we were all more optimistic. We only watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And like you said, those are definitely 2 of the best ones. And I think we were all expecting it to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like we were expecting new era, season 29 Simpsons level of bad.
Yeah.
Just with a new skin. So it's not that. It's season
14, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you, BT Calloway.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Cins Dee.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And yeah, that's been the Simpsons Index, and that's all the mustard in the house!
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
Now, for people who aren't aware, which is everyone, I'm going to take that again as well. This is going to be one of those days
Yeah.
where I'm going to be mostly editing myself out.
And I have to sneeze also.
Yeah, just go for it.
Bless me.
That'll make great bonus content. We have deleted scenes at the end of the episode, by the way.
Oh, good.
There's going to be a remix version of you sneezing.
Chew, 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 chew.
Chew, chew,
At least
chew.
it's a cute sneeze.
Yep.
Yep. I maintain a sneeze is a lot like a fingerprint. No 2 are the same.
Wow.
That was deep.
Yeah, log in with your Apple phone. Sneeze right into the home button.
Yeah.
Gross.
The future is now.
The new Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And like
The X-ray.
that thing. Yeah, that's what I see every time I get my neck cracked.
Mortal Kombat ruined my brain.
Welcome to Mortal Chiropractic.
Adjust him.
Dr. Scorpion will be with you in a moment.
Yeah, instead of next patient, it's just get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's written in ma-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Come in and see the good guys.
I know, it's in my head too.
Well, get your kettles and heaters. It's fun to ride in one, but it's got to be a new one.
Without all that bin juice coating it. Filthy, stinky bin juice.
Only fit enough for a bin chicken to eat.
Filthy bin chicken!
Do you know, actually, I didn't know this for ages, like, because Americans, you know, they have raccoons. We don't have raccoons over here.
Yeah.
Their name for them is trash pandas.
Yeah.
Like how we call Ivis's bin chicken. So now I want like a Nickelodeon cartoon, the Trash Panda and the bin chicken.
Yeah, there's a really fun one-page RPG called Crash Pandas where you play as raccoons who are street racing. I really want to play it. It looks amazing.
References to Bob Dylan? Or that might be just for our podcasts. Welcome to the Simpsons.
No cookies till you finish your sundae. It's hard to do.
Dylan fans would read into that line way too much.
If they pushed it too hard, then yeah, maybe when everyone stops listening to her at the parade, they would have been like, don't listen to this girl, we already know what she's going to say. We also have the question here of, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would it be? Or failing that, best sandwich?
Well,
sandwiches.
I don't like salad, so that's out.
No.
Because you don't win friends with salad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A sandwich.
Bear with, when I say sandwich, that is everything that combines some form of bread with some kind of filling. So if you want to stretch this out into a hoagie, grinder, hero, taco,
we
burrito,
accept burgers, jaffles,
hot dog, technically they all fall under the blanket of sandwich. Blanket of sandwich.
All right, the best sandwich / hot dog I've ever had is this little place called Taste of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the Lord of the Rings hot dog.
Nice.
And on it is obviously your hot dog, and it's got nacho cheese and jalapenos and onion rings. And that's really good.
That sounds good.
I think it's our first hot dog on the sandwich index.
Mm.